What is up, besties? And welcome to another impromptu video, which, by the way, I promise that when I actually have the energy and I don't have Venus and Mercury retrograde with the solar lunar eclipse shit happening and messing up my energy, I'll be back. But until that happens, it's your girl Sober Anniversary Eve, and so she's on the ganj. But whatever, it's cool. Like, I'm having a good time, and that's not my drug of choice. Like, I don't fuck up my life on that. Anyway, so I had a thought, and it could be a high thought, it could, but I think I cracked a code on something, and I think you guys are gonna want to hear this. It's gonna be so fucking annoying. I'm sorry. So I was thinking, right? Now, those of you that are new here, I'm going to re-explain this story, but a lot of you are already going to know this. So back September 14th, I got the phone call that my on-again, off-again fiance passed away. Didn't see it coming. Devastated, heartbroken. The worst amount of pain I've ever felt thus far. Knock on invisible wood. God, please don't do me worse than that. But anyway, so when people pass away, because that's a really big thing that's happened in my life, a lot of people have died, especially like mental health and drug overdoses. When that happens for me, I lean into it. Like, honestly, it's probably a little unhealthy, but I have at least 10 photos up of Ian everywhere. I have an 8x10 right there. I have a picture of him with my passed on stepfather. I have him all over my fridge. I have my cousin who passed away 2 years prior to her. My point, I promise I'm getting there. When he first died, first of all, I went through denial, right? The stages of grief. But then there was that moment of like, I am never going to fucking survive this. Like, I'm never going to move on. I am going to forever feel like there were nights where I was like, God, please just take me too. Just, I can't live without him. I can't do this anymore. Like, there were moments where I was like in the fetal position, crying on the floor, snot and all, begging to wake up from this nightmare, right? But the point is, I think that, and this is going to be like such an out of the box thing. I feel like Aquarius placements might see where I'm going with this, and the rest of you might be like, I don't know, hear me out. What if, instead of when a painful breakup happens, instead of avoiding it, right? Because we get upset, we get into our feelings, delete all the photos, I'm guilty of this, deleting all the conversations. What if we leaned into these things like a death? Because it's been a little over 6 months now, and while I can't say I'm over it, I can talk about him without falling apart. I can talk about him and smile. I can think about him and be grateful that he's out there feeling peace and healed, and it brings me joy to know that even though we're separate, he's still, to a different degree, living with happiness. So what if we treated breakups of all kinds like that? Breakups with friends, breakups with spouses, breakups with family members. What if we leaned into the pain? What if we acted as if, right? As if they died. Like, we don't have to get to the point where, like, yeah, they're fucking dead. Like, if you want to be petty, go for it, I guess. But, like, plastering their photos everywhere, everything that reminds you of them in your face 24/7. Will it hurt all of the time? Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. But I've had clients, I've dealt with this myself, I've, dealt with my family who's dealt with it, where people are still stuck on people from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Hell, I've done it myself. And I think the biggest problem with that is we're reminded, we push it down, and then it goes away. And then the universe brings it back to us because, maybe we've prayed for a better relationship. And so in order to attract a healthy relationship, we have to release what makes us unhealthy, right? Like, back in the day, I used to be heavily anxiously attached. I needed to hear from you all the time, or it was a worst case scenario. I needed you to constantly big me up, or it was a worst case scenario. I'm not perfect yet. But those attachment styles, help me word what I'm trying to say, Spirit. We are forced to let go with love when it comes to things like death. But when it comes to things like breakups, growing out of each other, etc., we kind of just shove it away, and then it comes back, and we push it away, and then it comes back. And so we're haunted by people that are still living, right? And then, like, especially if you're spiritual, then you get a Mercury retrograde or Venus retrograde, and now you're on your ex from 5 years ago's Facebook, and now you're upset because they're married and they're not married to you. And then you go into the spiral of what's wrong with me. So, what if instead we looked it dead in the eye and we leaned into the pain? We leaned into the fear. We leaned into the very thing that we're trying to avoid, right? Because a lot of times when we're like, it's over, we don't really get the closure that we should get. I mean, there have been tons of times where I've reached out to exes where I'm still like, bruh, you don't feel the elephant that's in the energetic room? Like, can we please close this door? I think that maybe because we've come from societies behind us that didn't feel feelings at all, and then it's like we boomeranged into like hypersensitivity where like external social media and all that fucks us up. What if we treated this like a death and really grieved it so that we could feel the way that we do about someone who's passed on? Because think about someone you loved, right, that passed on. I'm sure you could think of one that really wrecked your life, right, for a little bit. But now you think of them with love, and you know, or maybe you don't, maybe you're an atheist, but why would you be on my page then? That wouldn't make sense. But I respect you if you are. But you know, like my cousin, for instance, she was my best friend in the whole wide world. And granted, yes, I do see her because, you know, I'm a little extra sensory. But I look at it with love. I look at it with detachment. I look at it with no woulda, coulda, shouldas anymore. No ego, no negativity, no damn you, God. No, none of that. Because I leaned into the grief, the sadness of the absolute. And I think that's the biggest problem that we have as human beings is when someone doesn't die, it doesn't feel absolute, right? When that breakup happens, they're still going to go on, right? They're going to cross your mind from time to time, and you're going to hear news throughout your friends that they got married to so-and-so, now they have 3 kids, and they're traveling, and blah, 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 blah. Instead of avoiding that pain and then having little trinklets, I don't think I said that word correctly, little droplets of pain throughout the years, why don't we just take those first few months and really dive into it? Because technically it is kind of like a death. That relationship is dead. It'll never, ever be what it used to be. You will never be with that person again. You will never be best friends with that person again. You will never like that lifestyle again, right? Like me being 5.5 years sober from alcohol, I didn't know what was going to be the last day that I was going to have a blast drunk with my friends at karaoke before it got bad. I didn't know what was going to be the last day partying with my, which now I don't really see as friends, but still in that moment, right? We don't cherish the time that we have when it's present, and we don't deal with the consequences of the end because we're so afraid of change and we're so afraid of finite because we don't understand the universe in and of itself. So of course we're going to be clinging to past memories and clinging to those life events. So I guess kind of my point is, because I felt the need to talk to y'all, like it was like spirits like, well she's a little you know, I have did you know that they make THC drinks? I did not know that. But anyway, I promise guys I'm good. I'm just having a fun Saturday. But I think that we should look at the end of a relationship from the egoic standpoint, because we have to honor those emotions, right? We have to honor the sadness, the anger, the grief, but we can also delve into the complexities that come with that. The sadness of, I didn't realize that was going to be our last kiss. I didn't realize that was going to be the last time you held me in your arms. I didn't realize that was the last time I was going to call you my best friend. I did not realize that was the last time I was going to be surrounded by this group of people and feel part of something. You know what I mean? Like, even though, the alcohol spiraled out of control for me personally, there were good days, right? Obviously, or I wouldn't have continuously gone to the same bar, continuously had those same experiences with those same people. But you know, when I was personally healing at the very beginning, a lot of times those memories would come back to me and I would just be like, oh, fuck them. They weren't real friends. And I had to honor that because that's how I felt. Because once I got sober, crickets, right? But it's because we've outgrown each other, right? Like, no one really questions it when someone graduates from high school to college and then that dissonance is louder, right? Because the age, and then you're in a different state or a different country. if we were present in each moment as it was happening and be grateful for it, even if we're not where we want to be, right? Like maybe today you're hanging out with your family and you really don't want to do it and they're boring as shit, but you know, it's family. And little do you know, 5 years from now, Uncle Bob is going to die of a heart attack. You don't know. So I guess my message for this, well, the original one was how to really let go for good, looking at it as a finite thing, because that's really what's going on. And I think that's really what we're trying to escape. It's why we villainize these people. It's why your ex is always an asshole and nothing else. But, you know, Ian and I didn't have the healthiest of relationships, or we would have still been together, right? But once he died, none of that mattered anymore. The back and forth arguments, they didn't matter anymore. The childish blocking me because he couldn't deal with a fight, it didn't matter anymore. Sorry, babe, love you. But it was because he was gone. All of that stupid shit that we hold on to so hard, it doesn't matter once death comes. It just doesn't. I mean, for some people, they can hold a grudge for fucking ever, and to each their own. I don't think you'd be watching this video. But if you knew that, why don't we lean into these things? Why don't we appreciate what it is for what it is? Not dress it up as something that it's not, but then also just be grateful, you know? Like maybe I'll call myself out. I have not the greatest, I have a strained relationship with a parent, and we're very just different personality-wise, and they're very 3D in logic. I'm very 5D in spiritual. It's a little oil and water. But if that parent were to die tomorrow, all of those fights wouldn't matter. What I was constantly trying to prove myself, it wouldn't matter. And I obviously need to take this advice myself, because, you know, spirit tends to talk through me, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's a good idea. Like halfway through, like this wasn't even what I was focused on. I was just focused on grief, but I didn't even think about it from a still living perspective because I've had so much death. What if we just honored the emotions as they come? The anger, the sadness, the you're sleeping on me, the you're not taking accountability, you're not growing up the way I want you to grow up, I want us to grow together, evolve, whatever. Two things can be true at the same time. And I think that a lot of pain that resides in a lot of people, which is why you're seeing these adults that are acting like children all the time, is because they're stunted at an emotional moment in their history that they refuse to look back at, right? Think about how many adults you see that act like they're 16, and it's like, what the hell? But if you think about their childhood, you think about how they were treated in school and they were emotionally stunted, they didn't have the internet to look up therapy.com, and you know what I mean? Like, granted, they have it now, but we have to take that into consideration too. And the goal here is for you to be happy. It's not to prove them right, wrong, whatever. You're going to do that by being the best version of you. You're going to do that by following your dreams. You're going to do that by trusting that there is true love and that you don't have to settle. Trusting that you can get that great job and that you don't have to work this 9 to 5 that you hate that pays you fucking pennies. I think that because we were handed a broken world. Yeah, thank you, Spirit. It is no measure of sanity to be well adjusted to an insane society. I'm pretty sure I got that right. It's a quote. We don't have to follow societal norms, and it really doesn't matter what societal norms are anyway, because as long as we get to where we want to go, who cares what path we take? You know what I mean? If you've watched, I don't remember which video it is, but they showed me kind of like what free will really is like, you know those mazes in the newspaper where like you can hit a bunch of brick walls, but eventually you're going to find the finish line and it's always going to be right there. You know what I mean? You hit that wall, you can hit that wall, hit that wall, you're going to reverse, but at the end, start to finish, those 2 points, they stay the same. And so if we want to have the most joy in our life while we're hitting those walls and learning our lessons, learning who we don't want to be, what we do want to be, valuing those moments, but then also letting go with love and grieving the way you would if tomorrow literally wasn't promised. I want you to think about people in your life that right now you're like, fuck Felicia, that bitch fucking, she was a horrible friend to me and she treated me like shit. True, bestie, she probably did. But There's this movie on Netflix. It's about God. I think, oh, I don't remember what it's called. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, feel free to put it in the comments. Just look up like God movies on Netflix. It'll pop up. It's called The Something, and the black chick from the Peel movies in it. This is what happens when I open my channel. My brain stops working. The Shack. There it is. Thank you. It's called The Shack. But it's about looking at things from a disconnected point of view, where it's like, in the movie, for instance, his daughter is murdered by a nasty man, a Diddy, if you will, allegedly. And God talks to him, and he's like, well, yes, this is true. This is horrible. You shouldn't have to go through it, because he's saying to God, like, this isn't right. This is not fair. But then they show him a flashback of the guy who murdered his kid being beaten badly by his father. And it's like, at the end of the day, the point is, like, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what their problem is. I had a moment semi-recently, and I mentioned it to y'all, where I got triggered. I ended up having a conversation with that person, and it was just a misunderstanding. But we have these wounds, and we forget that they're an opportunity to heal. It's not, while it is inconvenient, yes, it's not a bad thing. It's like the puzzle piece that's hidden under the couch when you're trying to finish the puzzle, but you don't want to look for it because you're too fucking lazy. So you're like, fuck this puzzle then. Like, it's a way to get back to ourselves. If we just look at it for what it is, you know? Yeah, that person broke my heart, but they taught me about myself, right? Like, you devastated me. You weren't what I needed. You made me question if I was good enough. But then I had to do soul searching to realize that I was the person that was supposed to teach me that I was good enough to begin with. And if I didn't run away from that, if I leaned into the pain, I could figure out where it all stemmed from. And that's what I did the last time I got triggered. I think it was the last video I made, because I've been so fucking exhausted. Where instead of being like, oh, this person's bad and I'm just going to block them and blah, blah, blah. No, I leaned into it because I knew the emotion wasn't equivalent to what was going on. And so I knew that there was a bigger message for me in that. Okay, I'm left on red. I feel like I'm disrespected. Well, why do I feel that way? Okay, well, I've been left on red in the middle of a vulnerable conversation. I'm putting my heart out there, and then you're just going to leave me on red and walk away. And then, you know, you have that battle with your ego. But at the end of the day, what I realized was, I'm nurturing you, and I feel like I'm not getting that nurturing back. So there you go. There's key number one. Number two, well, do I do anything in my life to admit that when it happens? Did I even have the words for it prior to going down that spiral? Do you see what I'm saying? And then it was like, now I can verbalize this pain instead of this being something that disconnects me from connections in general, right? Instead of this trigger of, oh, this person left me on red, they don't care about me, even though it wasn't that deep. It used to be deeper a few years back, but whatever. The point is, I went down and down and down. I kept going, okay, what does this tell me about myself? What does this tell me about myself? I don't feel like you think I matter. But that is also telling me that maybe I don't think that I matter. Because if I care that much for you to validate that I matter, then maybe there's more work to be done to realize that I need to reaffirm to myself that I matter. Because if I truly, in my heart of hearts, feel like I matter, feel like I'm enough, feel like I deserve all the love in the world, feel like I am the shit, then it's not going to be triggering if someone falls away. It's not going to be triggering if someone's rude to me. It's not going to be triggering to me if I go on Tinder and someone unmatches me after I say that I'm sober, but it doesn't matter because if you want to drink, it doesn't bother me. True story. It did bother me for half a second, and then I was like, but you know what? I get it, because I'm someone who doesn't want kids. And if someone is on the fence about that, we're not going to be a good fit. And I think a lot of times in the society that we live in today, with social media giving us external validation so we don't know how to validate ourselves, we're constantly looking for reasons why we're not good enough. Got these filters, you got these fake ass bodies, Ozempic, etc. And then you're like, I don't know why I don't feel like I'm enough. And I don't even know myself because I'm spending all of my time scrolling on TikTok to avoid all these uncomfortable emotions. But death is one of the only times we actually face them. And what happens when death happens and we face those feelings that we usually would want to avoid? You know, I was in the middle of an argument with Ian before he passed away. We fought like a couple of months before he passed away. By the way, the survivor's remorse and whatever that shit's called was real. But it didn't matter after that. All that mattered were all of the good memories. All that mattered were all the good moments. All that mattered was everything that he taught me, both good and bad. He helped me grow. He was there for me in the darkest of days. And before he died, I didn't see that. Do you see what I'm saying? Before he died, I was just really pissed off because he kept messaging me with stupid shit and he wouldn't be real with me. But if I had known, I would have tried a little harder. I would have put my heart on the line a little bit more. And we don't do that anymore. We don't let others in and then we wonder why we're constantly feeling empty. If you're someone that deals with someone who cheats on you all the time, I'm telling you, they feel empty. They're not looking for someone who's better than you. They're looking to fill a void. Or if you're someone who has people that constantly pick at you, right? Don't wear your hair like this. Why are you standing out? Why do you wear sexy clothing? They don't feel good enough within themselves. And when we go within, we can crack all of these codes and we can stop being these fragile adults. We have adults that are arguing about gender when there is no transgender person that believes they were born. It is literally in the name. Like, that shit is just, that is the dumbest argument to date. It's dumb. Sorry. I'm going to actually put my opinion on that one. And think about it, not that long ago, right? First it was, if you have tattoos, that means like you're in a gang and you're a drug dealer and, you know, so people like me, it was not that long ago where you better not have it on your hands. I remember I couldn't get jobs because of my hands. They just have stars and the word fate on it. It wasn't that long ago, right? And then not that long ago, they were afraid of people of color. So is it not shocking that being afraid and looking away from things that we don't understand leads to bigotry, leads to a lack of understanding oneself? When you are in touch with who you really are, the shit out there just doesn't matter as much. It just doesn't. Because you know you. And if you can bring you joy, and if you can deal with things as they come, if you can feel the sad moments as you feel the sad moments, life's going to get a lot easier for you. There's a lot of times where I hear about people that are like, oh, she thinks she's so good for us now, or whatever the fuck they say, right? Too good for us now, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand that I'm hitting your wound of abandonment because I've walked away, but you also have to understand that I walk away with love. For the most part, there's no one I hate, no one I have any issues with. Even the astrology teacher, if you guys were around for that, I don't hate him. I wish him well. Oil and water. And I think that we need to start realizing that the more we find ourselves and the more we heal these opportunities to learn about ourselves, the more we can cherish each and every day as it comes, the more we can be grateful. Like, if you're older, think about your high school sweetheart and then think about it like right now. Like, ew, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, if I ended up with my high school sweetheart, you know what I mean? So what felt like the world's worst problem 10 years ago feels laughable today. So what hurts today? Dive into it now so it's laughable sooner. And so it brings you joy faster. So you detach quicker. So you can be grateful for the good parts, understand why the bad parts had to happen, and be able to let go with love instead of letting all past pains consume you. It's like death. Grieve now. Feel now. Heal now. Amazon Prime now. You know? I don't know if this helped anybody. I just had like an aha moment and then something in me was like, share it, share it, share it. And so maybe people need to hear this with Venus and Mercury both in retrograde. Maybe people are thinking back on people right now. Lean into those emotions. Or if you're seeing this in the future, maybe you're thinking about people from the past. Lean into it. Because once you lean into it, then maybe you can actually figure out what it's really hitting in you to begin with. Because I guarantee you, bestie, it's not that they left you on red. It's your dad not being in the home when you're a child. It's your mom having to take on 2 jobs to help pay the bills and survive. It's the fact that you were quirky and you were bullied in school. It's the first boyfriend that cheated on you. It's those things that we brush away and we don't take seriously because we were taught all of our lives to suck it up and move on. I kind of dare you to not suck it up at all and to not move on at all. I dare you to lean into it. I dare you to go back to that memory and weep for the child that deserved to weep. Weep for the teenager that deserved to weep. Honor what it is that you felt, because that is the gold mine. That is what's going to get you out of the pain. That is what's going to set you free. I don't know if this helped. I love you guys. I should have done this live. Do you guys want me to ever go live? I don't really know how I feel about that. Because I know there are assholes out there. And unfortunately, being evolved doesn't mean other people are going to evolve. And I know that I have hate watchers. I hear about it all the time. The dead people tell me. But let them hate. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't hold on to it. Free yourself. If you're constantly like, why can't I have a good relationship? But then you won't look at that one relationship that fucked you up the most, that makes you a little hesitant, that makes you a little anxiously attached or a little emotionally avoidant. Maybe someone made you walk on eggshells, so now you want to make sure everything's okay, but you don't want to look at it. Look at it. That's how you're going to get out of it. And that's how you're going to be happy. And that's how you can make yourself have fun on a Saturday night with just a playlist of music. Weed alcohol, I guess? Without alcohol? I don't know. I don't know what this shit's called. Whatever. Allegedly, and for entertainment purposes, only no facts here, and 21 over, I guess. But yeah. I don't know. I thought... I feel like if you're not deep, you're probably not going to get this, and you've already clicked off. But if you're still here, then I think you might get it. Or maybe you might need to let it kind of sit and marinate for a little bit. But I don't know. I think moving forward, for me especially, because I've already had a little bit of a... I've seen a little bit of it. We could really learn a lot from treating endings the way we treat death. Finite, to close the cycle. To realize we're stepping into a new chapter. To value what we have in the present moment, because tomorrow you might grow out of it. Or they might grow out of you. It's not promised. So yeah. I love you, besties, and I'll see you next week.